So the other day, I was out looking at homes in Cupertino, and it was like 6:30 p.m., and I was feeling a little peckish, and so I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go and grab some food to eat. And one of the great things about living in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley is that there is no shortage of amazing places to eat. And I was reading somewhere on the internet, God knows where, my brain is fried, but it's on Quora or something, Reddit maybe, I don't know, and they were talking about, where there is great food to be had in the world. And many people were saying, actually, you know what? The Bay Area does have some of the best food anywhere in the world. That includes Paris, that includes Rome, that includes Lima, Peru. I mean, it includes all the foodie capitals. They're saying that because, there are so many people who can afford to pay well for food that, in fact, the market has responded and has made available a number of really amazing, delicious places. But one of the neat things about the Bay Area is that you can get really great food in kind of unexpected places, you can go to a gas station and there's a taco truck parked in there, and it's a 5-star taco truck, really amazing food being cranked out of there, served to you on a paper plate with a paper napkin. That's not uncommon at all. But I was wanting to have some noodles, so I whipped out my brand new iPhone 15 Pro Max and opened Yelp and took a look for noodle shops near me, and wouldn't you know it, there was a great reviewed place less than a mile away, Fuji Huoshao and Dumpling, and I decided to go and try that for dinner. Of course, the noodle shop is in a nondescript strip mall, and not much going on there. Really, a few other restaurants and maybe an insurance agent or something like that. I forget. It was kind of dark outside, and so there is a noodle shop, and I parked my car and I got out, and it's a good sign when you go to the noodle shop and basically everything is in Chinese except for there's the name of the restaurant, right? And there's a little sign saying a few little things in English, but basically most everything is written in Chinese characters, right? So I go in there, and small place, not a lot of people in there. Actually, there were 2 different patrons in there, and there was I guess he was the owner maybe behind the counter, and I guess his wife was cooking in back. And mom and pop, literally a mom and pop place, and they had the menu on the table itself, right? It was taped to the table or laminated or something anyway, and there's also a letterboard or whatever, with the menu, and he goes, okay, what do you want? And it wasn't a very large menu. I mean, maybe there might have been 20 things on there or something like that, but they specialize in these dumplings and noodles, and so I looked over the menu, and so I ordered a bowl of noodles with lamb and their house dumplings, and so I sat down, and it wasn't more than 6 or 7 minutes before the noodles came, and they were outstanding. Man, they were so good. I grew up in Berkeley in the Bay Area, and we always went out to Chinese food, and it's Chinese food, right? It's not really food in China, but it kind of looks a little like food you would get in China, but the ingredients aren't the same, et cetera, et cetera. But we grew up eating a lot of Chinese food, and I remember as a kid, we would go to restaurants in Berkeley, and there weren't forks. You had to ask for forks. There were always just chopsticks. And so even as a little kid, I grew up learning to use chopsticks. Now, I'm not like Mr. Miyagi. I can't grab a fly out of the air with my chopsticks, right? I'm not that adroit with it, and I probably don't even hold them right. But nevertheless, I can actually use chopsticks relatively effectively to eat. Long story. Anyway, my point is I've grown up with Chinese food, but it's really the American Chinese food that I kind of grew up with. But what's so nice about the South Bay is there are so many pretty darn close to real Chinese food. And I've been to China twice, and I lived for a year in Malaysia, and 33% of people who live in Malaysia approximately are Chinese. So there's some pretty legit Chinese food in Malaysia. So I consider myself to, have a basic grasp of what good Chinese food actually is. And I gotta say, this place, man, those lamb noodles, they were a revelation. They were a 10. The noodles were fantastic. And I'm not like Tom Colicchio, man. This is not like Top Chef South Bay, right? I mean, I'm not a gourmand, but let me just tell you, these noodles were damn fine. The lamb was very just tender and succulent and really flavorful. But the broth was outstanding. Now, I did add a little soy sauce in there. The owner encouraged me to add some soy sauce, and that's funny. He showed me like the pepper, like the black pepper, which I've never really seen black pepper. I mean, maybe it's an ordinary. I don't know. I've never seen like black pepper. I always go for the red chilies in the oil, right? So I added a little soy sauce and some red chili in there to the broth, and it was outstanding. Loved it. It was so delicious. And then about maybe 5 minutes later, the dumplings came along, and they were pork dumplings. And the dumplings were great. And I guess, I mean, because the name of the dumpling is in fact in the name of the restaurant, I guess it really is their house specialty. But they were great, but they were not as great as the lamb noodles. Man, those were fantastic. And I can tell you, the next time I am back in the area and I'm feeling hungry, I am definitely going to be stopping by, and I suggest that you do too. It's a really, really fantastic place to grab, I guess, lunch and dinner. I don't think they're open for breakfast. And the proprietors, you know, I didn't catch their name, but they were both very nice, sweet people, so far as I could tell in our brief interaction with them. And you know, I would definitely go there again, and I would encourage you to as well. All right, well, that's it for my 5-minute review of Fuji Huoshao and Dumpling on Bollinger Road in San Jose. Strongly recommend that if you're in the neighborhood, or maybe even if you're not in the neighborhood, probably worth taking a special trip. Hey, thank you so very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and please stay tuned.